My friends, have you ever noticed that every person carries two voices inside? One whispers, "You cannot," and the other whispers, "You can." One focuses on fear, hesitation, and limitation. The other speaks from faith, courage, and possibility. And here is the truth. The voice you feed becomes the architect of your future. The world outside cannot dictate your success. The world inside does. Your inner dialogue shapes your thoughts, your decisions, and ultimately your life. Many of us wander through life unaware of the conversations happening in our minds. These whispers quietly guide us toward fear, doubt, and stagnation, or toward confidence, growth, and joy. The question is, which voice will you choose to listen to? Today, I invite you to a 7-day journey of self-talk, a journey where you will learn to speak to yourself like a winner, because when you speak like a winner, you think like a winner. And when you think like a winner, your life begins to move in the direction of your dreams. Day 1, awareness. The mirror of your mind. The first step is simple but profound, awareness. Don't rush to change yet. Simply observe. From the moment you wake, your inner voice begins to speak. Sometimes it whispers softly, sometimes it shouts harshly. You look tired, you're late again, you'll probably fail. And most of the time, we accept these words as truth. Pause and reflect. If someone else spoke to you this way, would you tolerate it? If a friend constantly said, "You're not enough," how long would you allow that? Yet, this is how many of us treat ourselves every single day. So today, just listen. Notice the words, the tone, the emotion behind them. Carry a small notebook or use your phone to jot down each negative phrase you catch yourself saying. At night, read it back. You may be shocked at how many unkind words you have allowed yourself to speak unconsciously. Think of this like holding a mirror to your mind. Every word you speak colors your reflection. Negative words darken it, positive words brighten it. Awareness is the first step toward freedom. When you see these thoughts, you start to separate yourself from them. I am not that voice. I am the one listening to it. This is the quiet moment when transformation begins. Just notice. Do not judge. Do not correct. Simply see the whispers that have quietly guided your life so far. Day 2, choosing your voice, the garden of the mind. Now that you've begun to observe your inner dialogue, the next step is choice. The voice you nurture will shape your reality. Will you feed the voice of fear, hesitation, and doubt? Or will you nurture the voice of faith, courage, and confidence? Picture your mind as a beautiful garden. Every thought you have is a seed. Negative thoughts are like stubborn weeds, quietly spreading if ignored. Positive thoughts are like flowers, delicate yet resilient, ready to bloom when tended with care. If you water the weeds, they grow strong and overtake the garden. But if you nurture the flowers, they blossom, and slowly the weeds lose their grip. Today, take responsibility for what you allow to grow. When your mind whispers, "I can't do this," answer with gentle determination. "I can try. I will learn. I am capable." When it says you will fail, respond. Failure is not defeat. It is a teacher guiding me toward growth. Every attempt strengthens me. Remember, it is often the smallest shifts that create the largest change. A single word of encouragement, a moment of redirection, a conscious choice to feed hope instead of fear. These tiny adjustments can quietly steer the course of your day, your decisions, and ultimately the direction of your life. The garden of your mind is yours to cultivate. Choose wisely, water carefully, and watch your inner landscape bloom. Day 3, speak to yourself like a friend. My friends, pause for a moment and ask yourself, how often are we harsher on ourselves than anyone else could ever be? We scold, doubt, and criticize ourselves endlessly, as if our own inner voice were a relentless teacher with no compassion. Now, imagine speaking to yourself the way you would speak to someone you deeply care about. If a dear friend stumbled, failed, or made a mistake, would you berate them? Of course not. You would comfort them, lift them up, and remind them of their strengths. So why not extend that same kindness inward? Today, practice the art of self-compassion. When a negative thought creeps in, I'm not good enough, or I'll never succeed, pause and ask yourself, would I ever say this to someone I love? If the answer is no, reframe it. Replace harshness with gentleness. Replace doubt with encouragement. Speak in a tone that nurtures hope instead of feeding despair. Even the smallest acts of kindness toward yourself ripple outward. They strengthen your courage, nurture your resilience, and cultivate confidence. Your inner voice is your lifelong companion. Treat it with care, speak to it with love, and you will notice the transformation not just in your mind, but in the way you face life itself. Day 4. Affirm your potential, planting seeds of possibility. By the 4th day, the seeds of awareness and choice have begun to take root in your mind. Today, we take the next step, affirming your potential. Affirmations are far more than mere words. They are reminders of the strength, courage, and capability that already exist within you. They are seeds planted in the fertile soil of your mind, ready to grow into belief, energy, and purposeful action. Speak to yourself with intention. I am capable. I am learning. I am growing every day. Say it aloud, write it down, breathe it in. When the mind hears these words consistently, it begins to accept them as truth. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, they reshape your energy, guide your choices, and build unshakable confidence. Think of a young artist who practices daily, unseen by anyone. Day after day, they struggle, stumble, and start over again. Yet each time they affirm their abilities, I can do this, I am learning, I will improve, their courage grows, their skills sharpen, their confidence strengthens, and one day their creation reflects not only talent, but the quiet inner belief they have nurtured in solitude. Today, my friends, let your words be the sunlight and water for the garden of your mind. Plant seeds of possibility with every affirmation and watch how they bloom into a life of purpose, courage, and quiet strength. Day 5. Challenge the negative stories, rewriting your inner narrative. My friends, every negative thought you experience is a story, not a fact. And like any story, it can be rewritten. Today, we learn to challenge those stories, to question the narrative that has quietly shaped our beliefs for far too long. When your inner voice whispers, I'll never get this right, pause for a moment and ask yourself, based on what evidence, what have I accomplished before that shows I can overcome challenges? Every time you confront a negative thought with curiosity and reason, you weaken its hold. You begin to see it for what it truly is, a habit of the mind, a default story, not a truth. Replace doubt with curiosity, replace fear with thoughtful action, replace hesitation with experimentation. Each time you question your fears, you invite courage into the space doubt once occupied. Think of a river flowing through a mountain valley. The river does not fight the stone. It does not curse the obstacles in its path. Yet, over time, with patient persistence, it carves a path through the rock. Slowly, silently, the river shapes the landscape around it. In the same way, your inner dialogue can become a force of persistent, constructive change. It may not create dramatic results overnight, but over time, your consistent effort, your questioning, and your courage will shape your life in ways that seem almost miraculous. Consider the stories you tell yourself about your limitations. Perhaps you have repeated them for years. I'm not talented enough. I'm not smart enough. I'll never be good at this. These stories are like chains that quietly hold you back. But today, you begin to loosen them. With every question, with every challenge, you break a link. And as the chains fall away, the freedom to grow, to learn, and to thrive expands within you. Remember, the mind is powerful, but it is also malleable. Negative stories are not your destiny, they are old scripts you've memorized. You have the power to edit them, revise them, and create a narrative that reflects possibility, courage, and growth. Visualize this, a sculptor facing a block of marble. At first, it is rough, unshaped, full of imperfections. But with patience, persistence, and the right tools, the sculptor slowly chisels away what is unnecessary, revealing the beauty within. Your inner dialogue works the same way. Challenge the unnecessary negativity, remove the doubts, question the fears, and reveal the potential that has been waiting quietly all along. So today, my friends, take a pen to the stories you tell yourself. Ask, is this true? Does it serve me? Can it be rewritten? Replace each limiting thought with a new line, a new belief, a new possibility. And watch as the landscape of your mind transforms quietly but powerfully, like a river carving its path through stone. Day 6, reinforce positive habits, strengthen repetition. By day 6, your positive self-talk is beginning to feel natural, but habits require repetition. Consistency is the hidden force that transforms words into energy and energy into results. Every day, reinforce the voice of encouragement. Repeat affirmations. Respond to doubts. Speak kindly to yourself. Each repetition strengthens the foundation of your confidence. Even when the change feels invisible, trust that the unseen effort is powerful. A seed buried underground may show nothing for months, yet it is growing roots that will support a tall, strong tree. Day 7, live like a winner, the transformation. Finally, the 7th day is about embodiment. By now, your inner voice is no longer dominated by fear or doubt. It has shifted toward encouragement, faith, and possibility. When you speak to yourself like a winner, you think like a winner. When you think like a winner, you act like a winner. And when you act like a winner, life begins to reflect that energy. This is not about perfection. It is about alignment. Every thought, word, and action begins to flow from a place of faith in yourself. The external world may still challenge you, but your internal world has changed. You now operate from clarity, confidence, and resilience. Closing reflection. Master your inner dialogue. The words you speak to yourself shape your life more than any external opinion. They determine your confidence, your energy, and your resilience. Take a moment to reflect. Which voice do you feed? Which stories do you allow to dominate? And what might happen if you decided today to speak to yourself like a winner every day, no matter the circumstances? The inner voice can be your greatest ally or your deepest obstacle. Choose wisely, nurture it, guide it, and speak with faith, encouragement, and kindness. Over time, the quiet power of your inner dialogue will transform your life silently, steadily, and beautifully. Remember, mastery of self-talk is not a one-week task. It is a lifelong practice. But once you begin, there is no turning back. Your inner world will guide your outer world, and your life will unfold in ways you never imagined because you learned the power of your own words.